The Bitcoin cycle top is definitely not in yet, and in this video I will exactly explain why I do think this and why I also do think that most Bitcoin traders are currently getting fooled. So let's talk about exactly that within this new update video. We will also take a deep dive in towards that Ethereum price action and in towards that altcoin price action. So yeah, make sure you're ready, boss. I'm going to share a lot of important information again, and make sure to subscribe on the channel and of course watch and like my latest YouTube video. That would mean the world to me. Let's just dive in towards that Bitcoin top signal, which is the most important thing on the market. And I see so many people flipping bearish on Bitcoin right now, and I do think this is definitely not a good time to be flipping bearish on Bitcoin, because I have found some super important data, and this on-chain information about the Bitcoin cycle top, these bull market peak indicators, these on-chain bull market peak indicators, that the cycle top is definitely not in yet. 0 out of 30 from this bull market peak indicators are currently flashing, and it's indicating that we need to hold our Bitcoin for 100% sure. And for a comparison, during the 2021 bull market, 28 out of these 30 signals were flashing, and during the 2017 cycle top, 25 out of these 30 indicators were flashing. So that's absolutely insane, and that's why I do think the Bitcoin cycle top is definitely not in yet. Also because we haven't seen that overheated hype cycle yet, and that's why I'm still very bullish on that somewhat of a long term for Bitcoin. And also with that is the information that we know that the global liquidity is currently moving higher on that 10-week lead lag chart. So that's also looking extremely bullish, and I do think Bitcoin will be following on that somewhat of a longer term. So guys, for me there's still absolutely zero reason to be turning bearish on Bitcoin right now, but on that short term it can of course be a different story, and let's talk about exactly that right now. Because what we are currently seeing on the Bitcoin chart is the following. We see this downwards trend line, this downwards resistance line, and we see this Bitcoin rejection from off that resistance line. And that could mean two things in my opinion. We are or going to create a lower low over there. That's of course going to be quite bearish, and then I see Bitcoin dumping even lower possibly. Or we are going to gain more strength, break above this resistance line, and from there we can move even higher to those previous levels in that massive consolidation zone. And the most important level to be reclaiming could be that $90,000 level in that case. So that would of course be extremely bullish, and I do think this is possible, but right now we are trading on this super important support level, and from there we can definitely create strength and bounce to the top side, because all these indicators are showing us that there is so much room left for some positive upside momentum still for the Bitcoin price action. But I must say, I do think most of these positive price action will be decided by how the macroeconomic environment is going to look like for like the next upcoming 3 to 6 months. And probably tomorrow we are going to get more clarification about exactly that, because tomorrow Trump is going to announce a new tariffs on that Liberation Day, and he's announced that he will, and he basically announced that he will impose tariffs on all countries. And of course we just have to look how it's going to unfold. If the tariffs are going to be a lot heavier than the market is currently expecting, yeah, then we could definitely see some downwards price action. If that's not going to be the case, then we can definitely move even higher. So we can, for example, draw it like this. If you are going to see some very heavy tariffs, we could definitely be creating a lower low, and that would of course be super bearish. And if we are going to see some more positive news and the market, and for example the stock market is going to react a little bit more positive, yeah, then we can definitely move to the upside in my opinion. So let's see how that's going to play out, but I do think this is the most important event for this week, and the charts don't even matter too much on that somewhat of a short term for this week. Of course, we are also in a new quarter on the 1st of April today, and something very interesting I saw is that the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq, so basically the US stock market, just recorded their worst quarterly performance since 2022. So this could definitely be an indicator that the bottom is in, because if we are dropping even lower from here, yeah, then we are definitely going to see some indications of a bear market, because the US stock market is already in a pretty big correction. And if we take a look in towards the Bitcoin and Ethereum quarterly returns, we can clearly see that we have that we had a very bad Q1 for both Bitcoin and Ethereum, which is a very weird thing to see during a post-halving year, where normally the performance is quite good. So definitely there's something going on. We know most of this is about the tariffs, so the decision on Wednesday is going to be extremely important. And if it's, for example, going to be slightly bullish, then we are going to see a massive reaction in the markets, I do think, because it's simply the biggest reason the markets are dumping so hard right now. And I do think the markets are overreacting, because we can clearly see it on the data. It's just a 45% drop for Ethereum, for example. Yeah, it's absolutely insane. And I do think most assets are currently undervalued. And guys, yesterday we also saw some Bitcoin ETF flows again, of course. We saw a 60 million outflow for the Bitcoin spot ETF, and we saw a slight inflow for the Ethereum spot ETFs. So yeah, that's quite bullish for Ethereum and not too bullish for Bitcoin. But I do think a lot of people are simply de-risking through the spot ETFs today, because tomorrow we are going to see such a highly volatile event. And guys, if you want to trade Bitcoin and altcoins yourself, make sure you do it on Bluefin. I've linked this platform below under my latest YouTube video. Yeah, make sure to check it out if you're interested in trading Bitcoin and altcoins yourself. And right now you can also claim some absolutely insane deposit bonuses. So yeah, make sure to use my link if you want to claim those deposit bonuses, and of course also support me a little bit, because this is a affiliate link. And guys, for now let's just dive straight away in towards that Ethereum price action, because Fidelity just bought $6.4 million worth of Ethereum through that spot ETF. So yes, that's quite bullish for Ethereum. And also on the chart, Ethereum is still looking pretty strong, because basically the most important thing for Ethereum, in my opinion, is still reclaiming this range low. And if we do so, I still think that Ethereum could be moving all the way back up to that range high. And of course, this is going to be highly dependent on how Bitcoin is going to perform, but we are definitely going to see clarification about this week. And if Ethereum can't reclaim this range low, yeah, then we could definitely be in for more downwards price action. But of course, that's very logical. And what I do think is that based on all the news I'm currently seeing and all the information I'm getting, that Ethereum is clearly super undervalued, just like most assets right now. So I'm definitely accumulating more Ethereum. And just like as we can read over here, Ethereum reclaims the #1 spot as leading DEX chain by volume. So we are seeing quite a lot of volume, but the price isn't directly moving with it. And I do think that's going to happen in the end for Ethereum. We are also going to see that the SEC is going to approve Ethereum staking ETFs soon. That's also a reason why Ethereum is quite undervalued in my opinion. So yeah guys, I'm still super bullish on Ethereum, to be fair. Definitely for that somewhat of a longer term, of course. And also on this weekly time frame over here for altcoins, we can clearly see that altcoins are still trading above the previous high within this cycle. And right now we are creating a very similar downwards consolidation phase as we did before that 2021 altcoin season. So I do think the stars are still aligning for a massive altcoin season. I do think there's still a possibility. So I do think there's still a big possibility we are going to see that massive altcoin season. But of course, we need to see some positive Ethereum price action first, because it has been a very long time since we had a little bit of positive price action there. So let's see how that's going to play out. And guys, that was it for today's update video. Hope you guys enjoyed this update video, and I will see you guys within the next update video tomorrow.